Hello. All right. So everyone mute.
Is this the same?
Yep. All right. So sorry about that, everybody. The audio issue is now fixed. So in terms of resources at Highway 1, we have both people and machines that are at your availability. In our shop, we have actually several different shop areas. First off, we have our rapid prototyping shop, which is 3D printers, laser cutters. Then we have our low power tool, kind of dusty section, which is kind of standard woodworking and other work areas, lots of tools as you would expect. And then we have our kind of high power, more dangerous tools, CNC, mill, lathe, bandsaw. And then we also have an electronics lab with a pick and place, other mill for desktop CNCing, oscilloscopes, microphones, temperature chamber, and basically whatever you would need to actually build a couple of units of your product. So our goal is to help you build 1 to 10 units while you're there. You know, a lot of startups are really focused on speed. So we have a lot of contractors who are used to working with startups come in and do a couple hours of work. We have a lot of facilities and shops nearby who will gladly take your boards or your enclosures and make them for you. And we work with a lot of model shops. In terms of people, we have an engineering team with firmware, EE, design, mechanical experience. We also have biz dev, marketing, and PR experience on tap. During the 4-month program, our goal is to get you to an integrated, looks like, works like prototype. We don't think that you should do crowdfunding. We think you should be building your team, validating your product with your customer, working on your market, working on your business plan, and then post Highway 1, go out and raise. Figure out how you're going to do manufacturing, how you're going to go to market, and then actually do those things. Usually, if you're a consumer, with crowdfunding as part of it. All right, if there are any other questions, feel free to send them along. Otherwise, I'll just repeat some of the other stuff that I was asked because. In terms of raising, you do not have to have raised before coming in. About half of our teams have, but the other half were first money in. We put in between 50 and we put in either 50K or 100K. 50K for 5%, 100K for 8%. During our program, we work with the teams to help them get to an integrated looks like prototype. During the first week, we set engineering goals with you. We introduce you to a bunch of we have a mentor mixer, and then we also have an industrial design mixer so that you can team up with ID firms. Over the course of the next couple of weeks, we start to figure out what your first prototype is going to look like, or what your next prototype is going to look like, and if you're going to meet those engineering goals. We also start to introduce you to investors, where we bring in, say, 20 investors for the week, and the teams take turns talking to each or most of them. This will give you kind of the idea of what the slog is like when you're actually trying to raise investment. Just going to check for new questions. Do we look for certain types of products? Man, Google is slow. Yes, we look for products that generally are not going to end up in the waste bin, that instead customers want, that have a service, so that when your hardware is commodified, you actually still have a business. That means collecting data, that means developing a core relationship with your users, and generally making yourselves useful so that once you actually have your product in the market, people will keep working with you and giving you money. Take for instance, Magic Instruments. It's a guitar controller it's a version of a guitar up on Indiegogo right now. Once you buy their guitar, yes, you can definitely keep using it as it is, and you can play sounds, and it's kind of a different type of synthesizer in some ways. But you can also using a subscription fee, buy into their song service so that you can start to play songs, hit songs that you know from all the major publishers on the song. And so that's exactly the type of product that we look for. Consumer, big market, new technology, subscription that adds value. So the question is the 50K or 100K funding cash or part cash? Actually, we give you that amount of cash, and then the services, the facility, the demo day, the China trip is all separate. That is just part of the program. So you will get a check or a wire in your bank account for the amount we discuss. There is no program fee. What is the hardest challenge for the startups entering the program? I mean, the number one thing is focus, is actually figuring out what your goals are, moving forward towards those goals, and exceeding them. You need to be thinking about your business, your team, your product, all while there's 9 other teams around you. We have mentor programs, we have investors. You could be working on your shop, you could be working on the pitch, and it's important to be moving the ball on all fronts while recognizing what is the most important thing you should be doing at that given time. So I'm already building 10 prototypes for commercial pilots and hope to be done before the Highway 1 program starts. Is Highway 1 still helpful for me? I bet it will be, because I bet they are 10 different prototypes, or at least a couple different variants on them. You'll be getting customer feedback, and you'll then be able to use that customer feedback to build your next round of prototypes and hopefully get those out to 20 different customers. And then if you're able to build another one and get it out to 50 new customers and integrate more feedback, then you'll really be ready to release a product to the masses. We always picture products, technology products especially, as coming forth from the founder. And the reality is these things are created by the teams. It's created by their users who show them how they want to be used or how they'll actually use this product. And they are created by the founder. But you need to take into account what the customer needs and what the customer wants. The question is, how well developed does the software solution need to be before entering Highway 1? Does the software need to be recurring revenue or just value add and creating a barrier to entry? Well, often the software is not as well developed because the hardware takes so much longer, but it's not something that can be ignored. And we have a solid firmware engineer on staff who can help you out with that. In general, you need to figure out some way. You need to figure out some way to have recurring revenue. Now, it doesn't have to be in software. If you look at Keurig, it's through coffee. So it could be a store, it could be apps, it could be a platform, it could be selling consumables. But if you don't have recurring revenue, then I think you're going to have a harder time figuring out how to actually raise investment. There are many different ways of doing a business. One way that's popular in Silicon Valley is to do venture capital, but that is certainly not the only way to do it. I mean, if you can start a business without raising investment, then you'll just be able to go build your business and get profitable. Raising a round is a means to an end. It is not the goal. So do you accept international teams, and do they have to be in San Francisco during the entire program? Yes, we accept international teams. We've accepted teams from Australia, South Africa, all over Europe, Mexico, Canada, even New York. And we, in general, we find that the teams that get the most out of the program are the ones that are here every day, are the ones that are here working alongside their cohort, working with our engineers, are around when an investor stops by to see what's going on, are around when a mentor pops in and does office hours, are around when they're working on the shop. That said, life gets in the way sometimes, so it's understandable if people need to be elsewhere. So generally, it's part of our interview process. We want to make sure you'll be a part of the program. And you should assume you will spend the majority of your time here. We recently had a team show up 2 weeks late because they were spending time working on the Grammys. We've been able to tell that they're behind because of that. They are literally just behind, 2 weeks behind the other companies, and it's hurt them. So we don't suggest it. And we have rejected teams because we didn't think they would be there enough. Pardon me, I'm going to grab my water. Thanks. We will not accept a team of 1. We will consider a team of 2, but you will be the slowest in the pack. 3 to 5 is a good number for a startup. We have one team that's working really solidly with 7 right now. So think 3 to 5, you know, probably 2 technical, 1 softer skills, marketing or business. And you will be well situated to take advantage of all the different meetings, the classes we offer, while actually moving ahead with your product. What are the key things you look for in an application? Prototype, number 1. 2, the team. You know, we like to see that the team's been working together for a while, that they've actually moved forward, that they have the skills to make this happen. We want to make sure that you've actually thought about what this product should be. We want to know that you've talked to your customers, you know, 30, 40, 50 customers, that someone not on the team has tried the prototype. We actually had a really solid team apply last year. Great school, had raised a little money. I knew some of their advisors, and they had built a number of prototypes. However, the only people who had tried the prototypes were on the team. And they were just making a product for themselves. And they were afraid to let their customers try it. We don't know why, but that's one of the reasons we rejected them. Question, to be in Highway 1, do you need to agree that PCH will be your CM? And do most graduate companies that go to scale end up using PCH? So no, you do not have to agree that PCH will be your CM. It's a very separate contract. There's a separate program for handling manufacturing and PCH services. Highway 1 is no guarantee, no requirement to use PCH. Most of the companies end up talking with PCH about manufacturing, and a much smaller number actually end up doing it. You know, honestly, we recommend that companies really figure out if they're going to go to scale before they go to China. It's very important to know what your product is and to make sure that you can actually deliver on it. And go with the simplest, most expedient manufacturing solution. Are there any products or business verticals you won't accept into the program? Not a big fan of pollutants. And otherwise, I'm trying to think exactly what we wouldn't take. We really like consumer. We like consumer medical. We're looking for more B2B, more industrial. I mean, this time around, we're definitely looking for more, you know, productivity apps. Very few of those. Anything in the fintech space, and as I said, always medical. The start date for the next cohort is the beginning of August. Our applications already began, and will be on for another couple of weeks. About the team, well, one full-time founder, one part-time co-founder, and one part-time engineer count as 3 people. That's some funny math. We'd have to figure out what's going on there, but probably not. I think one full-time founder who's on the ground, one full-time engineer who's on the ground, and maybe a part-time co-founder who is just amazing and worth being a co-founder even if they're part-time could count as 2 people. But otherwise, if we're going to be putting in $50,000, we need to know that you guys are really committed. All right. Does anybody have any more questions? So China trip. So we take the teams to China so that you can actually see what it's like when you're at scale. Now, this is a trip facilitated by PCH. And so we head over there, PCH staff greets us, we get to meet some PCH executives, and then we end up going to partner facilities of PCH. So we get to see plastics being made at scale, electronics being made at scale, kitting, distribution at scale. And all these are so you can see what is possible, what it'll be like several years from now when your product is shipping in the tens of thousands of units per month. While you're there, you'll also get to see the Shenzhen electronics markets like Huajianbei, where there are buildings just filled with LEDs. And even if you aren't doing manufacturing in China, you'll probably have to go there to look for suppliers. So it's good to get some feet on the ground, see how Shenzhen works, get a feel for it, know your way around. And so that way you can walk in with some familiarity. When I say I'm looking for productivity hardware, can you please give me some examples of past companies that fit this description? Well, Keyboardio is one. Keyboardio is a new programmable keyboard aimed specifically at developers, though anyone can write macros for it. And they ended up getting follow-on after a successful $600,000 Kickstarter. They ended up getting follow-on funding from Bloomberg Beta. And I think that there's a lot of other productivity possibilities out there. In general, we like to see unique IP that's defensible, or an amazing consumer experience where if you're the first one to market, like say Magic Instruments, then you can get a lot of people and then you have this service that people buy into. Do we assist in making investor connections? My job as the head of Highway1 is to find the startups and then to marry you off at the end. Try to help you find funding as best we can. We can't promise that to you, but that is the goal of the program. We are designed for hardware startups that would like to be venture backed. So during the program, we have several touch points. All the mentor mixers and various investors are invited to. We have due diligence workshops where investors come in and teams get to work with investors and run their pitch through with them in a kind of friendly atmosphere. And then finally, we have our demo day where you get to pitch in front of several hundred investors who are all aware that you are, what stage you're at, that you're at a hardware accelerator and that you're looking for the next step. And we coach you on those pitches as well. All right. Well, if there's no more questions, I think we're going to call it a day. Hi, Igor. What is the procedure of accepting a startup into Highway 1? So in general, you apply. We then will do a business and market evaluation of you. And then if you pass that, our engineers will meet with you, validate the product, make sure the team can move the prototype forward. After that, we have basically like a partner meeting day where all the teams either come in or Skype in, and that's when we make the decision. This time around, we'll be selecting 8 to 10 teams. They'll get either 50 or 100K, 50K, $50,000, and that's cash. We would take 5% of the company. For 100K, take 8%. How do we evaluate IP when most patents of applications are filed and probably not issued yet? Well, that's part of the engineering evaluation. Generally we check in with you, make sure that we get an explanation of the product, of the IP, and we make an evaluation. If you are claiming that you have a patent, then we have lawyers who will investigate it and take a look at it. Our engineers will also look at it. We also have trusted mentors who are experts in their various industries that will take a look at your IP. And before you ask, we do not sign NDAs like most investors. We sign an NDA as part of the program, but not before. Do you have to be a registered company? You do not have to be a registered company to apply. You will have to be a C Corp or similar for us to invest in you. So more than one team has created their C Corp or converted their LLC upon receiving acceptance, and then we deposit the check after they are formed. The patent does not have to be filed before submitting the application. In fact, we have patent lawyers who come in as mentors that do office hours and generally coach the teams through what their patent strategy should be. So in general, Highway 1 is a 4-month-long program devoted to hardware that is a part of PCH. And we help you with engineering, design, marketing, PR, and biz dev. So because we have funded OpenBike, will there be a conflict with other smart bike hardware? Well, we don't allow competitors into the same cohort. We very much avoid that. Across cohorts, we have no issue with funding competitors. However, if it was a direct competitor and the other team is still viable, it's unlikely that we would want to make 2 bets in that sector. So we definitely do some portfolio balancing. In terms of how we've handled these types of conflicts in the past, we do not share information across the 2 teams, and we make sure that there's a lot of respect about using the space at the same time. So just because we funded OpenBike, it doesn't mean that you shouldn't apply. And you should know that we will not share your information with OpenBike. Do we have any? And quite possibly, we would try and help you find a way to partner with OpenBike so you guys could work together. The OpenBike team has a lot of bike industry contacts, and honestly, more than one team has ended up, one's disbanded and then gone and joined the other. And a great example of a bike peripheral that could possibly partner with OpenBike is Skylock. They're a Wi-Fi connected, solar powered bike lock. And I could easily see them wanting to partner with OpenBike. And that is not the first time that folks have done exactly that. Question, do we have to pay for the services of patent lawyers and biz dev resources? So you do not have to pay for any of the resources within Highway1, which includes the engineers, biz dev, marketing, all that type of stuff. But that's support. It's not the same as someone sitting down and just like cranking out your CAD. It's not the same. Getting a mentor to advise you on your patent strategy is not the same as a mentor filing your patent strategy for you. So mentors generally come in and they're willing to work with you. They're trying to help you out, but they're not going to do your product for you. So at a certain point in time, any advisor mentorship could easily pivot to going from very friendly advisement to, oh, you want me to do work for you, here's how that looks. Either an equity grant, vesting equity hourly perhaps, or getting paid dollars. So in short, yes, you have to pay for the services of patent lawyers that you use. Biz dev is a bit murkier, so hard to say. Question, at what level should the prototype be to apply? We have a duct tape prototype with customer feedback and are designing a second version now. Sounds like exactly the right stage to apply. I mean, you've done a prototype, you are then you're meeting with your customers, you are iterating on that. That's exactly the type of thing that we like to see. You know, whether or not you're early or later is hard to tell without knowing what you're doing, but that's the kind of smart customer validated product development we like to see. Oh, sorry. There's a question about material science. We don't have any real explicit connections with them. However, Lime Lab, our sister organization that is across the parking lot, has about 60 very experienced engineers founded by someone who was at IDEO for 19 years and someone who shipped hundreds of millions of iPods. So I bet they know some people from around the bend. So if you have specific material science needs, while I cannot guarantee it, nor can I guarantee that those people would talk to you, I'm pretty sure we could help you out. Any other questions? There's 10 of you. If you want my opinion on Game of Thrones, I can expand. Huh. Question, any preference for companies formed at a PCH hardware hackathon? Well, it's certainly good to know that you have a great pedigree, and we'll take an extra look at you. Being formed at a PCH hardware hackathon is no guarantee of acceptance, but definitely note it in your application because it makes for a great story. F6S or AngelList, which one is better? Does it have to be through those sources? Do we have a preference? There's really no difference to us. F6S is slightly better, slightly easier for us to use, but they're both fine, and that's the only way we do it, right? Yeah, that's the only way we do it. It's just hard for us to collate. We used to have a form, we used to have email, and then we would end up losing people. And it sucks to apply to a program and then find out that your email was lost. If you end up into one of those two systems, then we have an API. We use their APIs to suck it into our CRM. And we haven't lost teams that way. So Use whichever one you want. It's fine. What difficulties do the international teams usually face once they are in the program? I mean, moving across country or across oceans is hard. Any team that's relocating to San Francisco has to deal with finding places, getting situated, figuring out where they're going to live, how much they're going to spend on housing. San Francisco is expensive right now, and there is no question about that. It's expensive for a reason, though. A lot of people want to come here. I would say housing, transportation, that is the number one thing that you're going to have to deal with. The advantage is you'll be able to move a lot faster here. You will meet a lot of people here. You are closer to where you want to raise from. You are closer to a lot of your markets. So it's often been worth it for teams. Can I describe what happens at the Highway 1 demo day? Highway 1 demo day, it's at the end of the program, week 15, week 16, give or take. We will have worked with you for the previous week to make sure your pitch is awesome and that you're showing the best that you can be. We help you figure out how to tell your story, how to demo your product. And after that week, hopefully you're ready to go. We do a friends and family the night before, so your friends, partners, whoever can come and check it out. The next day during the actual demo day, it's investor press only. And everyone enters around 9. We start around 10. There'll be 10-ish teams. So we're done by 11. Everybody gets about 4 minutes on stage. And then we head out for demos. And we have food, and that generally keeps people around for quite a while. Demo day usually lasts for about 3 or 4 hours. And teams generally end up having a lot of investor meetings right after that. How many companies apply, and what is the acceptance rate? We'll have several hundred apply, and if trends follow, we'll have single-digit acceptance rates. Last time it was about 3%. Other times it's been 5%, but generally low single-digit acceptance rates. We winnow a lot of teams out on business and market thinking, customer validation. We then winnow out more teams at the engineering gate. And we do have teams apply multiple times. We try and give feedback. So, and if we see a familiar face, we'll usually pop in to find out, like, oh, what's changed, what's new? Because often, having a couple extra months can give you time to really figure out if this is what you want to do, if this is the right approach, to find that firmware engineer you needed, to find that mechanical engineer that you needed, to move your product, your prototype forward. When is the last day to apply? You can apply whenever you want. No. When is the last day to apply? I don't know. When is it? May 23rd is the last day to apply. I can't read the board. So applications are open. We keep them open for about a month. And then right after demo day, we end up ending our application run. Along the way, we are constantly reviewing. We're constantly looking at the teams. We've already started meeting with some. In fact, a bunch of us are doing a field trip over to a potential coffee startup. And a follow-up question from the same curious person. When would we know if we're in? Expect to hear by the end of June. We want to give you time to move. We want to basically let you move around your life to figure it out. What is my view on assistive technology? This is a really difficult area. We've had some assistive technology companies go through. I think it is always very good. The concern is that it's a small market. And so it's always good to find multiple uses for this technology. And I think that because if it's cheaper, and then it'll be more available to your target market. So I think it's good to find something that can be used as assistive technology, but also has broad applicability in some other segment. I mean, iPhones are exactly that, or the Sidekick, which became very popular with the deaf community. Those had many other broad applications and also had assistive technology. All right. If there's nothing else, I'm going to say thank you and signing off. I look forward to reading your applications in F6S and AngelList. All right. Thank you. Bye.